What is up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. It's weird not having football on the Friday. You get so spoiled by bowl season having games every day, and then it suddenly ends the week of the championship game, and it's like, we don't got any no Thursday night football because it's week 18, no bowl games left except the Natty. So but yeah, good to have Logan back. What's
Good to
up,
be here,
man?
my man.
Yeah, we got to get them out to cover. There's a lot of news going on between all the leagues, USFL, XFL, college football, transfer portal still going crazy. Um, and then of course we have week 18 this weekend in NFL to decide a bunch of stuff. Only one division is left available, or two divisions are left available: AFC South, NFC East, and two playoff spots, three playoff spots if you count the AFC South. But yeah, no games to recap because I recapped them all on the Monday show. We're just gonna jump into news. So XFL, I'll start with the transaction that I just got notified about for my DC Defenders. We have a new quarterback. It is Jordan Ta'amu, former St. Louis Battlehawks quarterback, and was on the Chiefs practice squad after that 2020 XFL season. Don't know where he was last year. I don't remember him playing in the USFL any, but yeah, pretty good quarterback for the lower professional leagues here in XFL, USFL. Also, we have the opening week schedule for the XFL February 18th and 19th. That the first day on Saturday, the 18th, going to open up with the Vegas Vipers at the Arlington Renegades. That's going to be at Choctaw Stadium, 3 p.m. on ABC. I haven't re-looked into the rosters yet. I'm going to do that more probably the week before the season starts after the Super Bowl. But interested to see if my preseason picks are still kind of in that order, because Vegas was my number one. Also on the 18th, the Orlando Guardians are going to be at the Houston Roughnecks. That's at TD ECU Stadium. That's at 8:30 on ESPN and FX. So it's going to be interesting to have games on FX. And then on the Sunday, we got the St. Louis Battlehawks at the San Antonio Brahmas. That's at the Alamo Dome. That's at 3 p.m. on ABC. And then the Seattle Sea Dragons take on my DC Defenders at Audi Field in DC there, 8 p.m. on ESPN. We also got the divisions announced. They're kind of weird because there's not enough teams like geographically that similar. So it's North and South. The North division is going to be the DC Defenders, Seattle Sea Dragons, St. Louis Battlehawks, and the Vegas Vipers, unfortunately, for my Defenders there. And then the South is the Arlington Renegades, Houston Roughnecks, Orlando Guardians, and San Antonio Brahmas. The South makes a lot more sense than the North does. I would say, though, it just feels like Vegas is kind of like really weird in that. I don't know. That's just me. Yeah, I'm more excited about the XFL than the USFL, but maybe that's just the Rock.
Branding, yeah.
The USFL news, we got a couple signings here. The Houston Gamblers, they have signed tight end Brandon Barnes, played in the AAF before, I believe USFL as well. And then the Philadelphia Stars, they signed 2 people to note: tight end Ryan Izzo, former Patriots draft pick there, and has been around. And then corner Channing Stribling, which is an interesting story. Channing Stribling was drafted by the St. Louis Battlehawks, the XFL, chose to re-sign with the Philadelphia Stars instead. So that's the first kind of guy we've seen make a choice between the 2 spring leagues. Not going to be the last for sure. I can already see that, but yeah, I would not pick the USFL, but they're going into their second season. The XFL is only going to be year 1, so I understand that familiarity kind of thing. College football, another USFL connection. The NFLPA Bowl, we have one of the head coaches announced for that. It is Michigan Panthers head coach Jeff Fisher. He will serve as one of the head coaches of that All-Star Bowl game there. One coaching carousel note here. Kind of a weird story also. Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher has a new offensive coordinator. He has hired Missouri State head coach Bobby Petrino as his offensive coordinator. Now, Bobby Petrino already was supposed to be going to UNLV to be there. Was it offense or defensive? I don't remember what coordinator he was supposed to be at UNLV, but
I thought it was head coach, wasn't it?
I don't think so. I thought it was a coordinator because I don't know though. I don't remember. Regardless, though, I'm sure he's getting paid more than what UNLV was going to pay him. And SEC. So there you go. Bobby Petrino back in the big ranks there. Transfer portal, like I mentioned, it is still just popping off. I think I saw the one tweet that said from December 5th when it opened to January 5th, now a month in, it's increased like 1,300 players or something like that. Going to be more. So here we go. Oregon State quarterback Tristan Gebbia, he has entered the portal. How about UCLA? Chip Kelly gets a massive running back. Ball State running back Carson Steele has committed to UCLA. And I mean, he was already very good. And now to be in that offense, granted, they're going to have a new quarterback, whether that's Colin Schlee, who transferred from Kent State, or someone else. They just got like the number 1 quarterback in 2023, I think, Dylan Moore. But yeah, I mean, Carson Steele, by this time next year, we could be saying Carson Steele, day 2 draft pick, solidified day 2 draft pick.
Yeah.
Based on what he does next season with the Bruins.
Yeah, good move for both because they're going to need to replace Charbonnet.
Yeah. Another running back on the move, Utah running back Micah Bernard, kind of lower key kind of guy, but pretty effective in his carries at Utah there. Cal wide receiver J. Michael Sturdivant, one of the all name teams. It's very interesting. It's just J. Michael. It's his first name. He has entered the portal. I saw that he was getting interest from UCLA already. So there's another Chip Kelly going after guys. Wake Forest quarterback Sam Hartman, one of the biggest quarterback dominoes to fall. Everyone knew it all along, but he has officially committed to the Fighting Irish, headed to South Bend to be Marcus Freeman's new quarterback next year, ACC's all-time leading passer. Michigan wide receiver Andrew Anthony, he has entered the portal. He already has offers from Foes here, Penn State and Michigan State have both already offered Anthony. I'll take him on Penn State if we can get him. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
South Carolina running back Marshawn Lloyd. He is going from one USC across the country to the other USC. Committing to the Trojans there. Lincoln Riley getting a good back from the Gamecocks. And yeah, because they are, I think Austin Jones is gone. I don't think he has any eligibility left. And they already lost, I can't remember their starting running back for some reason.
Travis Dye, right?
Right. Yeah. North Carolina defensive back Cameron Kelly. He has committed to Virginia. So Tony Elliott, right? He's head coach. Yeah. I always get confused on where Brent Pry went, but Brent Pry is Virginia Tech. But yeah, Tony Elliott, Virginia's gotten a bunch of very good transfers this year. So I'm interested to see the Cavaliers, but they got to figure out their quarterback situation. Brennan Armstrong still in the portal, but is getting closer to committing, I think. Probably Auburn, realistically. And then last one, Oklahoma State defensive back Thomas Harper committed to Notre Dame. Another good get for Marcus Freeman and the Irish there. One returning player to note, which I didn't really understand why this was a big thing because I didn't think he was going to go to the draft anyways. Ohio State running back Mayan Williams is returning, he announced. Again, I defer to you because I didn't think he was realistically a draft prospect right now anyways.
I think a late round guy, probably 6th or 7th, he maybe could have gone in. But obviously returning to maybe help boost that. And I think it's possible that he can. I mean, he kind of basically took over the starting role from Travion Henderson. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works out next year for OSU.
Yeah, it is weird though, because he's not going to be the starter. Travion Henderson definitely should be the guy, more talented anyways. And he also has a guy that's produced once Henderson and himself were hurt in Dallin Hayden. So yeah, I don't know what Coach Jay is going to do with that running back rotation next year, but we'll wait and see. And then 2 draft declarations, got some wide receivers in the draft pool here. Michigan wide receiver Ronnie Bell, another guy that I was shaking my head about because he has had some flashes, but he's going to be a day 3 guy in my mind. So yeah, but he does kind of feel like not the same, but Donovan Peoples-Jones was drafted in the 2nd round, I believe, by Cleveland, 2nd or 3rd, I don't remember. But well, I didn't really think there was that much there with DPJ, but turns out there is a lot there since he's produced in his breakout season this year for the Browns. And then the other one, Oklahoma wide receiver Marvin Mims. Now that guy, I'm a little bit higher on Marvin Mims, dynamic deep threat kind of guy, speed for days with Mims, and I'm interested to see if he can sneak into day 2 or not.
Mm-hmm.
NFL news here. DeMar Hamlin. So our prayers have been answered. DeMar Hamlin, breathing tube is out. Was squeezing people's hands this week, and Today, he FaceTimed into the team meeting, addressed the entire team. It's just miraculous, really, to see how quickly he's recovered from Monday night in just 4 days here.
Yeah. I mean, really just an incredible story. Just really thankful that the best possible outcome, came out. And I mean, just seems like an incredible person. When I saw the tweet that his first words were like when he kind of was able to communicate where if they won, asking if they won, man, that tweet, man, it broke me. I was like, dang, that's just, just kind of a beautiful moment. So it is really a great thing, that basically everyone's prayers have been answered.
Yeah, and possibly looking to get released this weekend sometime, hopefully. Still kind of waiting though to see like the initial the diagnosis of what actually occurred, even though they said commotio cordis, I believe this is right. I know the commotio part. Commotio cordis was considered to possibly be the what happened, but not confirmed yet by the doctors. So we'll see what happens there. And I also did see another thing, another quote from someone else that said, it was a player that said the first few minutes of, I guess, Saturday's the first game. So first few minutes of that Chiefs Raiders game are going to be, I think he said scary. Yeah. Well, we'll see how players play the first couple minutes of that game.
Yeah. And I mean, I can't even imagine, being in their headspace, because I think all of them kind of know in the back of their mind that it's really possible. I mean, we've seen some really, crazy injuries in the past couple of years. But I think just seeing that and the possibility that he literally could have lost his life on the football field, and all the repercussions that came with that, it would totally get in the headspace of everybody who's lacing it up this weekend. So it's going to be interesting to kind of watch, to see how guys feel about it. And yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and that was the worst injury since Ryan Shazier, probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see how these go. But was placed on IR officially today by Buffalo, so he will not play the rest of the season, expectedly. General news here, because of what occurred on Monday, the NFL announced that game will not be resumed. So it brings in all this kind of stuff. There is a possible neutral site AFC championship game going to occur. And the way that we get to that, right? I love that Ian Rappaport posted this NFL research chart on Twitter. If you want to look at it yourselves, just look up Ian Rappaport and you'll see it in his tweets today. But the neutral site scenarios would be if the Bills and Chiefs are playing. There is one scenario where the Bengals Chiefs would be a neutral site. But to get to a neutral site AFC championship game, for the 3 games with those 3 teams this weekend, the Chiefs win, the Bills win, and the Ravens win. That puts Kansas City 1, Buffalo 2, Cincinnati 3. That is a neutral site if Buffalo and Kansas City meet. Chiefs win, Bills win, Bengals win. Also the same thing, 1, 2, 3, KC, Buffalo. Cincy, also going to be a neutral site there. The other two with the Bills Chiefs AFC title neutral site would be if the Raiders, Patriots, and Ravens all win. That would be the same Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, 1, 2, 3, neutral site there. And then Raiders, Patriots, Bengals win. It would put Chiefs 1, Bengals 2, Bills 3. That would also get a neutral site with the Bills Chiefs AFC title game and a neutral site with Bengals Chiefs. So the only way the Bengals make the AFC title game at a neutral site is if they are the 2 seed. And if the Bills are the 2 seed and make it, then they are well, I guess. See, I don't understand how that would happen. I don't know. Oh, if the Chiefs win, but the Patriots win and beat the Bills and the Bengals win, that would be the only other situation. They'd be the 2 seed, but then the Chiefs would host. But yeah, it's a whole like fiasco there with the scheduling of the AFC title game. But we also have a potential coin toss heard around the world coming up. If the Bengals and the Ravens end up scheduled to play each other in the playoffs in the wild card round, which would happen if the Bengals beat the Ravens, or if the Chargers win and the Ravens beat. It doesn't matter if the Ravens win or not. The site would be determined by a coin flip if those 2 teams are going to play each other in the wild card round. So that's I don't know how the Bengals got so shafted by this thing, but that's the only team that really comes out on the losing end out of all this.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those things that just, it kind of, there was no way they were going to be able to do this and everyone comes out, in a fair position. Just someone was going to come out kind of at the low end of the totem pole. But I think, overall they made the right decision to not try to resume the game, or try to cram it in somewhere. I don't think that would have fit into player health and just like the schedule of the league. And I think in terms of the possible scenarios that they're coming up with, they are putting in a good amount of work into finding a fair, outcome. So
Bengals.
Go ahead.
They are the AFC North champions.
Yeah,
that's what they got out of this.
Yeah.
They got a division championship without having to play for it this weekend.
Yeah, and I think that, what's interesting is how likely some of these scenarios could be. Like you said, like if the Chargers win, we could be seeing a coin toss, neutral site, decision. So it's going to be really interesting.
I really don't understand the whole coin toss thing though, right? I understand that, okay, if the Bills would have beaten the Bengals in that game, and then the Ravens would have beaten the Bengals, the Ravens would have won the AFC North. But at the same time, the Bengals were up 7-3 in that game, looking very good because they were driving for their second score when that game ended. But I don't really understand the coin flip. I think in terms of those 2 teams, the Bengals should host if they play, but that's just my opinion. Especially if the Bengals beat them this weekend. I think that should have been a stipulation.
Yeah.
If the Bengals beat the Ravens this weekend, I mean, why should a coin decide that they're going to have to go to Baltimore to play a wild card game? Because then if they beat the Ravens again in Baltimore, right, they're going to be a 3 seed anyways. So they're going to have to go on the road to Buffalo more than likely in the divisional round. So to put a 3 seed having to go 3 straight road games, essentially, if everything would work out, that's unfair, really. And a division champion to have to go win 3 straight road games would be a tough look, but we'll see what the coin toss shows, because I think the Chargers are going to win anyways. But yeah, that's a lot of intriguing stuff. We have a bunch of starters announced because it's week 18. Most teams are looking at the future. So the Commanders are one of those teams doing that. They're starting 5th round rookie quarterback Sam Howell out of North Carolina. He's going to be the 65th different starting quarterback this year. That is the most in NFL history outside of the strike-shortened 1987 season. So yeah, again, it's just added to the awkwardness of the 2022-23 season. Yeah. The Dolphins, they are starting Skylar Thompson at quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater ruled out. Tua still out. And Mike Glennon more than likely going to be his backup. They signed him to the practice squad this week. The Cardinals, they are starting David Blau once again at quarterback. I still don't understand what happened with Trace McSorley. I think Cliff Kingsbury screwed my guy over, but that's just me.
No bias.
We had the 2023 Hall of Fame finalists announced. Going to be a max of 5 modern era not inductees. They're going to be announced February 9th at NFL Honors. And the finalists are, I feel like I'm on an award show. And the nominees are Jared Allen, defensive end, offensive tackle Willie Anderson, corner Rondé Barber, defensive end Dwight Freeney. He is a first ballot guy, one of 3. Wide receiver and / returner Devin Hester, wide receiver Torrey Holt, wide receiver Andre Johnson, corner Albert Lewis. He is in the last year of his modern era eligibility, going to be a seniors candidate next year. Corner Darrell Revis, also a first ballot guy, as is offensive tackle Joe Thomas. Those are your 3 first ballots. Linebacker Zach Thomas, defensive end linebacker DeMarcus Ware, wide receiver Reggie Wayne, linebacker Patrick Willis, and safety Darren Woodson. So take your 5.
What's interesting is that I think all 3 of the potential first ballot guys could be in. Like, I think all 3 are deserving of a first ballot in spot. Specifically, I think Darrell Revis and Joe Thomas. I think that their body of work for the time that they did it, I mean, they were number 1 at their position for a really good number of years, which is really impressive. I don't think he's going to get in at this point, but I am kind of, and it's surprising as a Packer fan, but I wouldn't mind seeing Devin Hester in the Hall, man. I mean, I think that there's something to be said on your Hall of Fame resume when you have done something to fundamentally kind of change the game or stand out in some way. And Devin Hester I literally can't remember another person who was as electric as he was on special teams. Like, literally every time on a kickoff, you were like, he could take it. And there really just hasn't been another person like that. So I think that's interesting. If I had to pick 5 to make it, I would pick Revis. I'd pick Joe Thomas. I'd pick Freeney. I would pick I would pick Torrey Holt and probably the fifth spot I'd give to DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah, my five are similar. I agree. Joe Thomas, by far is I think the best finalist out of all of them. 10-time Pro Bowler. I don't know how many All Pros he has, but so yeah, Joe Thomas. I'd probably go Darrelle Revis. Torrey Holt, and I'm not putting Devin Hester in. DeMarcus Ware, I think, should be in. I think he is the best defensive end. He's better. He was better than Freeney, in my mind. And then my fifth one, actually, I was just looking at the list, and I'm putting two receivers in. Andre Johnson. We talk about dominance in their time. Andre Johnson was right up there with Calvin. Didn't have the stats that Calvin had because the Texans sucked.
Yeah.
But still, Andre Johnson, year in and year out, was one of the most dominant receivers of the 2000s and early 2010s there. So, yeah, that would probably be my five. The fifth one is kind of weird. But again, it's a max of 5 and minimum of 3. So you don't have to put 5 in. I gotta turn this thing off because it's gonna have background noise. But Patrick Mahomes, 430 yards. That is what Mr. Mahomes needs to break the single season passing yards record. Do we think he does it against the Las Vegas Raiders on Saturday afternoon?
I don't think so because, yeah, I mean, is there a way the Chiefs can lose the 1 seed?
If they lose and the Bills win.
So, I mean, I guess he'll play the whole game unless there's like, I mean, it's possible, but I don't think it's probable. Because, I mean, even for a guy of his talent. Now, the Raiders are one of those teams where it's just like 1 week, they're literally the worst team in the league. And the next week, they're like I started the 49ers defense in my fantasy championship because obviously it's Jared Stidham starting and it's the 49ers defense. And then they got into like a shootout. So, I mean, if divisional game, close game, a lot at stake, because it's on Saturday, so they won't know what the outcome of the Bills New England game will be. It's possible. I don't think he gets there, but I think the bigger point in all of this is like Patrick Mahomes is having an incredible year, and it's like no one's talking about him. He's probably going to win MVP, but it's like he's just kind of established like this level of brilliance where it's almost like, it's not as fun to talk about just because he's been so consistent. So that's kind of cool to see that he's reached that kind of upper echelon of guys.
I'm just kind of dumbfounded by this email that I got. A player is seeking an agency for representation from my alma mater. Okay. Well, I'll have to address that later, I guess. He's already signed a contract with the Indoor Football League and as a tryout with the United Football League. Trying to get into the CFL, XFL, or USFL. Yeah, that would kind of just that one took me, and I saw this saw his email. It said representation for this guy's name. But yeah, that's crazy. The Giants expected to sit their key starters this week. That's going to screw me over in my fantasy league because with the Bills game not being played, we decided that our fantasy championship is going to slide to week 18. I'm manually scoring them on a Google sheet, which is nice because I already had a Google sheet set up for our XFL fantasy league that we did a couple of years ago. Just had to tweak the formulas a little bit, but it's pretty impressive if I do say so myself. The formulas that I had to write to put in there. But anyways, Tyrod Taylor likely going to start this one. I'm going to have to figure out a different running back to put in for Saquon because I'm not starting him. But yeah, it's nice that the Giants are going to do this for the Philadelphia Eagles. I did see that someone said on Twitter, if Tyrod starts, he's gonna play to win. Good luck, sir, with your backup offensive lineman, and I want to say backup receivers, but aren't there starters already backup receivers? Yeah. In Richie James and what's other? Why am I blanking on the other guy's name? I don't remember.
It's something with an S, right? He just was popping off last week or something.
Yeah, I don't know. The only one that keeps popping into my head is Darius Slayton, but it's not him. It's the other guy that got cut from Buffalo and yada yada yada. But anyways, yes, good luck, sir, with that. The Browns, interesting scenario in Cleveland. They sent defensive end Jadeveon Clowney home today. Not gonna play this week. Not gonna play the rest. But he has said that he's 95% sure that he will not be returning to Cleveland next year. He said that last year too, and then they re-signed him. So, yeah. It's interesting. Anyways, Jadeveon might be done because he didn't have a market last year and he held out for someone to pay him $10 million, and the Browns finally said, yeah, we'll do that, I guess.
Yeah. And he wasn't exactly a world beater this year. So
yeah. He only plays well when he's playing opposite of Myles Garrett, which kind of simple logic there. Playoff scenarios we already kind of talked about some of these, but the Chiefs to get the number 1 seed, all they need to do is beat the Raiders on Saturday. Simplest scenario for them. Or if they do lose to Vegas in Vegas, they need the Patriots to beat the Bills on Sunday. The Bills, we already said this one, they need a win and a Chiefs loss on Saturday to get that number 1 seed, which I hate that the Chiefs playing on Saturday, right? For my Steelers' sake, because if the Chiefs win, do you think the Bills rest? I don't think they would, because they would still have to play for that 2 seed, because as it stands right now, the Bills are a game ahead of the Bengals.
And a really interesting added dimension to that is because it boils down to coaching philosophy, right? If you decide to sit your guys or not, if you feel like you need to keep them in rhythm or you need to give them some rest, what impacts that more for the Bills in this case is that they really haven't played a game, like a full game, for 2 weeks already, because of obviously the injury to DeMar Hamlin. So yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. And it is really interesting to see how that Vegas game is gonna affect the playoff picture.
And there is one scenario where the Bills are the 2 seed, but the Chiefs host without going to neutral site. It is if the Chiefs win, the Patriots beat the Bills, and the Ravens beat the Bengals. Then the Chiefs would host the AFC Championship game if the Bills were the 2 seed.
Yeah.
So is that one scenario enough to rest your starters? But I don't think they would. Why would? I don't know. Because if they lose, if they allow the Patriots to win and the Bengals win, the Bills are the 3 instead of the 2.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots, their playoff berth, they are a winning in. Simplest scenario for them. The Dolphins, they need a win and a Patriots loss, which again got more complicated, which we'll talk about the Jets quarterback situation in a second. A lot of stuff working against the Steelers right now that I'm not here for it. But the Steelers are the last team that can make it in. They need a win and a Patriots and a Dolphins loss, something I thought was very feasible just a couple days ago. But now I don't think as much with what the Jets quarterback situation is. And the Bills maybe not playing all their guys. On the NFC side, the Eagles, once again, for the 3rd straight week, they just need a win. And they win the NFC East and the number 1 seed. For the NFC East to still be clinched with a loss, they would need the Cowboys to lose to the Commanders. They could also get the number 1 seed with a loss, but they would need the Cowboys to lose to the Commanders and David Blau to shock the world and beat the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. I believe it is. So just win. Just beat the Giants backups. It's Jalen Hurts is coming back. It's pretty simple. The Niners, for their number 1 seed hopes, they need a win and an Eagles loss. The Cowboys, for the NFC East, is the same thing, win and an Eagles loss. Cowboys still can clinch the number 1 seed. They need a win and losses by the Eagles and the 49ers. Your Packers, winning in. That's all you got to do is beat the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football, last game of the regular season. Simple, right?
Not when like the Lions are one of the most efficient like teams over the last like 5 weeks or whatever.
At home.
Yeah.
At home, Jared Goff is Joe Montana.
Not a dome now.
On the road, he is Jared Goff. The Seahawks, they need a win and a Packers loss to make it in. They play the Rams. And the Lions, they need to beat the Packers and they need to have Seattle lose to the Rams. So we'll know the scenarios going into Sunday night, which will be something else to know that more than likely the Lions will be eliminated, right? Because no one expects the Rams to beat Seattle in Seattle right now. So the Lions can only play for one thing and one thing only if the Seahawks win, and that is to crush the Packers' dreams and get the Seahawks into the playoffs. IR activations. The Eagles, they opened the practice windows for safety guard CJ Gardner-Johnson and defensive end Robert Quinn. Both might play this weekend. I haven't really heard much on Quinn, but Gardner-Johnson, I do know he has been progressing well. Gonna see what happens tomorrow, Saturday being the key day every week for the IR guys. See if they get activated or not. Chiefs, they are getting back wide receiver Mecole Hardman this week. 49ers also getting help on offense. Running back Elijah Mitchell being activated off of IR, so they will have a dual backfield there with CMC and Mitchell. Vikings, they are activating tight end Irv Smith Jr. I'm praying he doesn't play much this week. I need TJ Hawkinson in my week 18 now fantasy championship. So I'm already losing Saquon. I can't really afford to lose TJ Hawkinson to Irv Smith snaps, which I don't think I will, but there's that threat. And then the Bills, they are getting some help in the secondary corner. Christian Benford coming off IR, so that'll help in the playoffs there. Really a crazy path for him. 7th round pick, I believe, Arizona State. Guys being placed on IR. Vikings losing offensive tackle Brian O'Neill, partially torn Achilles, massive. The Vikings offensive line has taken a lot of big hits the last couple of weeks. With Christian Darrisaw, he's been out. Garrett Bradbury got hurt, and now O'Neill as well. I think they've had some guard issues too, but limping in there to the playoffs. But somehow they keep winning. I don't know how they do it, but
Except for last week.
Yeah. And then the Commanders, they placed running back Antonio Gibson on IR. He will not play this weekend. And just one injury to note. It's kind of an injury / rehab surgery thing. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, he had successful ACL reconstruction and meniscus repair this week. So long road back for Kyler. I highly doubt he'll be ready for 2023, but Cliff thinks he might be. Anyways, I don't think so though, based off when he got hurt.
Yeah.
In November. So that's tough. But they have a weird, I don't even know. Arizona's got a lot of stuff going on that you gotta figure something out.
I honestly don't know what they're gonna do. I've been using some of the mock draft simulators when I get bored in commercial breaks in between games, and I try to pick the teams that are like in the hardest positions, and I get to the Cardinals and I'm like, I don't know what you do. I think at that point you just try to hope you get a high draft pick and just take best player available and just.
Well, you know what you can do in Arizona? You can wait. You can wait until the 6th round, and you can draft this stud of a 5'10" frame quarterback out of the greatest institution in America, the University of Georgia. That has put a record together of the last 2 years of 27-1, I believe it is. So
yeah. I mean, the goal is to find someone who can help them get to like 500 until Kyler comes back.
Yeah, I think there will be plenty of veteran stopgaps like there usually are in the 2nd round of free agency. Definitely don't have to buy big in the 1st round. Even though last year was kind of weird, like Mitch Trubisky was the only one that was really coveted by teams, I think. But yeah, I don't know. Speaking of veteran stopgaps, Dolphins quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. I mentioned he is out, dislocated pinky. Not going to play this week. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson out once again. This is 6, 7? I don't remember how many games. It's been a while. PCL strain for Lamar. Not going very well.
Yeah.
Neither are his contract negotiations.
Right. And I don't think those are mutually exclusive.
Cardinals, interesting. Wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins is out. He's not going to play the last game of the season. I don't know if that's injury or Hop being pissed off. Really. I still have to watch the last couple episodes of Hard Knocks, but because they didn't do one on the bye week, so I gotta watch the last couple. Titans are getting good news for their Saturday night showdown with the Jags. Titans running back Derrick Henry with his hip injury, defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons, and defensive lineman Danico Autry. They are all going to play, no injury designations going into that. So Simmons and Henry are massive returns for Tennessee with Josh Dobbs starting there. Bears will have a new starting quarterback. Justin Fields is out for the season finale, hip injury there. Nathan Peterman going to start against Minnesota. So Bears hoping the Texans can win and get a loss against Minnesota, get that number 1 overall pick, draft their new quarterback because Justin Fields sucks. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Options that Chicago has.
Bold.
Why not trade him? Bryce Young's better anyways. Jets, they have a new starting quarterback. Mike White is out with sore ribs. Joe Flacco gonna start, which again, it's Flacco versus Skylar Thompson. Who would have thought week 18, 2023? That's how this season has gone. Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker. He is questionable for their Saturday game. They signed Matthew Wright to their practice squad, has kicked for the Chiefs before, kicked with the Steelers this year also. Pretty solid veteran guy that can come off the practice squad. And then Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, SC sprain there. He is officially listed as questionable, but expected to play. Transactions here. The Bears, they signed wide receiver Equinemius St. Brown, 1 year, $1.25 million extension. So good for St. Brown there. Cowboys, they released wide receiver James Washington. Never really did anything. I was surprised I didn't hear of him getting picked up off waivers. No, I guess he cleared because I didn't hear of anything. Mentioned Dolphins signed Mike Glennon. Bills, they waived corner Xavier Rhodes, so he is once again looking for an employment. Chiefs, they released wide receiver Brian Edwards, and the Eagles waived guard Sua Opeta, making room possibly for CJ Gardner-Johnson, Robert Quinn, and Brett Toth, the offensive lineman. Final college pick standings. Mark got us, man. Pretty bad in my case. You were only 6 back. And I ended 19 back. But still, I mean, the winning percentages, I think we do a fantastic job on the show here. Mark ended up with a 73.1%. You were close. You were also above 70, 71.7.
I'll take it.
And I was down there in the lowly 68.9%. So yeah, I think we do pretty well for the games we pick every week. They're not the hardest games to pick, especially a lot of the top 25. But some of them are kind of hard when you get the ranked matchups against each other, and I don't know. We got to compare our stuff to the ESPN guys.
You're right.
NFL pick standings here. Look at the records last week. This is my 3rd straight week at 10-4, and I still really haven't made a dent in the deficit. I am still 8 back of Mark. You are 3 back still after losing your lead last week. So yeah.
Gotta get back.
We got one more week and then playoffs. So the first game here Saturday, tomorrow, Chiefs at the Raiders. We are all on the Chiefs, obviously 9-point favorites there in Vegas. I mean, the only way they lose is if Stiddy becomes Stiddy like he was last week. So yeah, that's how this game is going to go to overtime like it did against the 49ers.
I just can't imagine it happening back to back. Like I said, the Raiders have just been so hot and cold. I just can't imagine them putting it together another week and just putting on a Stidham show for us all. But hey,
the Chiefs defense is worse than the Niners is.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I don't know.
And Stidham learned from the GOAT, Mr. Brady, when he was in New England. So there is that. Maybe Stidham wants to be Brady now. The total here is 52.5. I believe that is the largest of the weekend. And I'm gonna why not get 53 plus points in this game? 4:30 tomorrow, ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus. Simulcast. AFC South Championship game, Titans at the Jags. No one's taking a shot on Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans. I want to go back to some point and look what their lead was. I don't know what their lead was on this division. But at the midway point in the season, everyone said, bro, the Titans got this locked. The Colts suck, the Titans suck, and the Jags suck.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, the Jags were like 2-6 at one point. So it was like, well, the Titans are just going to run away with the division again.
They and the Steelers are trying to do the same exact thing. Make it to the playoffs after a 2-6.
Yeah. It's impressive, man. And I think what this boils down to, and I mean, I don't like betting against Vrabel and Derrick Henry together. But this boils down to, I mean, you got one of the coldest teams in the NFL going against one of the hottest teams in the NFL. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is playing the best football he's had since his like freshman year at Clemson. So that's pretty dangerous. That's why I think they get the dub.
Yeah, third string quarterback and Josh Dobbs. I thought he did play pretty well against the Cowboys last week for what the situation was and everyone that they didn't have. Now they do have some stuff. I think it'll be a closer game than the Cowboys game was anyways, because it is division rivalry, heightened awareness there. But yeah, the Jags have all their guys and Titans don't have all their guys. That's my educated analysis right there.
No.
This game is 8:15 p.m. ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus. Sunday. This is where the fun starts. The Browns at the Steelers. I don't like we all took the Steelers. The Browns are playing a lot better than the first couple games Deshaun Watson played. But who have they really played? Not very good teams. They played the Ravens, who are averaging like 13 points a game with Tyler Huntley at the helm. They played the Commanders last week, who started Carson Wentz and threw 3 picks. The Steelers, there is something about this team. Again, like the Jags, like I said, they're trying to do the same thing, trying to get to the playoffs after starting 2-6, and they're at home, so why not? Kenny Pickett, the last month has looked like the guy they drafted 20th overall this year. He's the guy that I thought he would be, and he's finally doing it. And the offense, the running game, the running resurgence on this offense has been crazy too. They are running it very efficiently behind that offensive line and Najee Harris.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, for my money, Mike Tomlin is one of, if not the best head coach in the National Football League. I have a lot of respect for Mike Tomlin. And I think he's going to be able to put Deshaun Watson in just like absolute hell. Like just going to be able to scheme something up. Not that Watson's really necessarily been a world beater as of late or needed a lot to kind of shake his confidence. But I think they're going to be able to force him into some tough situations and come out with a win here.
Yeah, that's the thing that I didn't mention was the Steelers defense is back to being the Steelers defense. They've held the last couple opponents to 10 and 13 points. So
yeah, I think the only shot the Browns have of winning this game is if Myles Garrett just kind of takes it over up front and has a multi-sack kind of performance. But I don't see that happening because I think that they're going to be able to scheme against him.
Yeah, and without Clowney on the other side, I mean, there is nothing that's stopping the Steelers from double teaming and triple teaming Myles Garrett all day. That should be number one priority when Kenny goes to the line. Where's 95? That's pretty simple protection. The total here is 40. This is a popular number this week. 40. Most games are like 40 and around there. So 40, I have to go under because that's what the Steelers' last couple of games have been. It's been low scoring comeback efforts. I'm hoping that it's not that stressful for my sake. But at 10 a.m., mind you, when I will be in LA, 10 a.m., I will be watching this game. It'll get done around 1 p.m. So for my early morning sake, I hope this game is not stressful. But yeah, under for me in that one. Panthers at the Saints non-playoff matchup here. You and I are on the Panthers. This is the exact same thing that happened last week, and Mark beat us. Mark picked the Bucks last week. They beat the Panthers, won the NFC South. It's kind of good for the Panthers. They're going to have a higher draft pick now without making the playoffs, needing to get that franchise quarterback. Not in a position really at this point in the draft, being at the bottom of the top 10. But I do want the Panthers to help me, my Eagles out, get the Eagles a better draft pick with that Saints pick, keep it in the top 10. And I do think the Panthers are the better team. Sam Darnold has played very well, 3-2 in his 5 starts. Really should have won that game last week. If Mike Evans was not on the field, the Panthers win that game. I mean, he's the only thing that really killed them. And they were up by 11 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. The Saints are another team that I just can't figure out because they seem so bad, but I mean, they're 7-9, with a chance to finish 8-9. So it's a really weird thing. But I think it boils down to quarterback play for me, which is shocking to say, but Sam Darnold, like you said, has been playing some really good ball lately to his credit. So I think he'll be able to pull out the dub for the Panthers.
And last week was the first time in his 5 starts that they really put the offense on his shoulders because they couldn't run the ball. They didn't run the ball effectively. And he slung it all over the field. Unfortunately, that led to two picks and 2 fumbles. But the fumbles really aren't his. At least one of them wasn't his fault. But over-under is 42. I'm going to go under. I think both defenses are playing well. I'm under 42 in that one. We're not going to get 6 touchdowns. Bucks at the Falcons, another kind of that doesn't have any playoff implications here. The Bucks are already in, which I think by the betting line, that's why I was surprised you picked the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks are going to play their people. That's why it's -4 for the Falcons, and that's why I'm going with the Falcons. It's most likely going to be Blaine Gabbert versus Desmond Ridder, I would have to think, because why would you risk your 45-year-old quarterback in a meaningless Week 18 game?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it boils down to just how many guys they sit. I could see them sitting Brady. I don't know if they've played well enough to where they can look at even some of their other veteran guys and say, yeah, you've earned a week off. And I think that, for how kind of the regression of the Bucks defense has been this season, I think that front seven is still going to be able to get after a rookie quarterback, which is why I went with them here. But yeah, I mean, the Week 18 picks are so hard to pick because it's just not clear whether a team is going to sit their guys or not. We'll get to it here in a second, but I think I picked the Giants because I was unaware that they were sitting literally like everyone. They're going to get like pantsed by the Eagles.
Yeah, picking it is one thing with no repercussions, right? How do you think I feel having to put a fantasy lineup out there? Yep. Trying to figure out which guys are in and which guys aren't. But I don't think it's as bad as some of the other years. Some of the other years we've had the last week of the season, whether it was week 17 or 18, where it's like there are many playoff teams that you're unsure of because all the seeds are like locked up and you can't move anywhere in the playoff seeding. And it's like, I don't even know. I had that happen in a week 7. We had a week 17 fantasy championship the one year in my fraternity league, and I lost because I started Zeke against the Eagles, and the Cowboys had the division locked up already, and they told me people said that he was gonna play a little bit, and he didn't play at all. So, and it was a afternoon game, so I didn't have a chance to get anyone else in. The total for this one, again, is another 40. I'm going to go with the under. Like you said, Bucks defense. But again, the quarterback situation I don't think is going to be that great. So under 40. Patriots at the Bills. Now, again, I'm very scared here. Very scared. The Bills are going to watch the Chiefs win tomorrow and say, well, we can't get the 1 seed. Why should we try? But again, they are playing for the 2 seed to make the AFC Championship a neutral site. And the only way they would get the 2 seed is if the Patriots win and the Ravens win.
Yeah.
So I think they should play all their guys.
Yeah. I think the division rivalry aspect, coupled by kind of wanting to go out there and kind of win it for DeMar Hamlin, will lead them to kind of start their guys, at least initially. If the first half, trends to being kind of a very physical, you're worried about some guys getting injuries, some guys are getting banged up, then maybe you make some in-game decisions to that end. But I think you go out and you try and start your guys and see what happens.
Yeah, I have a big decision to make at quarterback. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Hurts playing backups, but not maybe 100%, and probably not going to have the rushing numbers that he usually has because they're not going to run him. But I think I am going to start Josh Allen, though. Even with that kind of thing in the back of my mind that he might sit eventually in this game. The last 2 games the Bills have played against the Patriots, they've absolutely blasted the hell out of them. So with that in mind, I think I'm comfortable playing Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, the two guys that I was depending on to make me come back from 44 down in week 17. That did not ultimately happen, but yeah, I like the Bills here. Over under is 43.5. Over, because again, the Bills should just blow them out. Why not? Let's have a repeat of that AFC division round game. Or was it a wild card? I don't remember. Last year. Whatever it was. Total here is 43.5. I already said that. Over. NFC North, Vikings at the Bears. Vikings have nothing to play for. They can get the 2 seed though, still, if they win and the Niners lose. They're out of the 1 seed running, but can still move to 2. Very unlikely with the Niners playing the Cardinals, and being 14.5 point favorites in that one. So I think even that being said, I think I picked the Vikings because Nathan Peterman.
Yeah.
Nathan Pickerman. Yeah.
The tank is in.
Yeah, I mean, based off our picks, which we'll see, the Bears will get the number 1 seed, the number 1 draft pick. Which again, I am so here for that though. I am so here for the off-season storylines.
Yep.
What will Chicago do at number 1?
Yeah.
Love
Me
it.
too. If nothing more, just for the discourse. It's gonna be just very rich and compelling.
You have to think about trading Justin Fields at that point and drafting Bryce Young. You reset the rookie time frame, and he's a better prospect. Really, I think, anyways. The total here is 43. I'm gonna go under. No reasoning. Bears won't be able to score much. Here we go. Ravens at the Bengals. This one has the playoff implications. So the Bengals can get the number 2 seed if the Bills lose and they win. And the Ravens can get the 5 if they win and the Chargers lose to the Broncos. Again, if these two teams stay where they're at right now, 3 and 6, they play each other, then we get a coin flip to determine who's going to play where. So we're all on Cincinnati. I'm shocked, really, that they're a 9.5 point favorite in even though it's not for the division anymore, it's still a pretty big game for 2 playoff opponents here that could be playing again next week.
Yeah. I think Lamar being out is the big thing there. Like, I just don't see Tyler Huntley being able to outduel Joe Burrow.
Yeah. And again, the Ravens offense, I said this already, but they have averaged probably around 13 points a game with Tyler Huntley at the helm. So it's not been very good offensively. I don't know if they'll be able to run the ball or not on this Bengals defense, who just got Sam Hubbard back last week. I think they did. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. But anyways, yeah, I think the Bengals will get this done here and hope that the Bills lose, and so they can get up to number 2, and that's the only chance they have at a neutral site AFC title game. Actually, they need the Raiders to lose. The Raiders to win, actually. as well. I think that's what that chart said. I don't remember though. Anyways, the total here is 39.5, and I'm going under. That Ravens offense can't score much. So under. And the Ravens defense is still pretty good. Texans at the Colts. We got an updated. I just got the tweet that I always look for every week. Players out this week. The big list from Adam Schefter. Dwayne Brown is out for Seattle or for the Jets. Carlton Davis out for the Bucks. So is Donovan Smith. Vita Vea is out as well for Tampa Bay. So not looking good for Ethan Logan. Also with the Giants, Leonard Williams is out. Lane Johnson for the Eagles. Josh Sweat for the Eagles as well. No Jack Conklin for Cleveland. No Tyler Biadasz for the Cowboys. Brian Robinson is out for the Commanders. I'm assuming that J.D. McKissick's going to start then for Washington, or Jarrett Patterson. They just signed him off the practice squad. Why not start the young man out of Buffalo there? Nick Foles is out for Indy. Oh, good Lord. James Conner's out for the Cardinals. Who the hell am I going to start at running back? I don't know. I have no clue. I'm going to have to start Ezekiel Elliott, I guess, against the Washington defense. That's going to go very well. And then Aaron Donald, once again, out for the Rams, which we already knew. But, yeah, that's God, dude, I don't know who I'm going to put at my running back spots. I should have just taken the L last week. I would have had maybe a better chance. Deebo Samuel expected to play for San Francisco this week. Jack Jones suspended, rules violations with the Patriots. Him and Jake Bailey. I don't know if Jake Bailey's being placed on the reserve suspended list or not, but he, along with Jack Jones, both violated Patriots rules. So Jack Jones will not play this week for New England. That helps me out with Buffalo anyways. Stephon Diggs, please, buddy. I need a lot of points from you. And yeah, the Chiefs, Matthew Wright, he's going to kick tomorrow. They also elevated Emir Smith-Marset, the wide receiver, off of the practice squad. This game has absolutely no one's going to watch this game. Absolutely no one. The only people that are going to watch this game are the Houston Texans fans that are praying for the Texans to lose so they can get yet again another number one pick. But you and I don't think that's going to happen. You and I think the Texans are going to beat the Colts in Indy, and they are going to lose that number one pick. And in my mind, possibly they lose Bryce Young.
I might watch it. If the Bears lose to the Vikings, which seems probable, I might watch it to see who potentially gets the number one spot.
That's right. The Bears fans will be watching this too. I forgot. They'll have to dual screen it, or just get NFL Sunday ticket like I have. But yeah, I just think Sam Ehlinger, another starting quarterback for the Colts this week. The Texans really should not be 2-13-1. They have played in probably 3 to 4 close games this year that they realistically had really good chances of winning. The Bears game, but their fourth quarters and overtimes have been just terrible. Absolutely. The Bears game, they had that one. They had the Chiefs on the ropes. They had the Cowboys on the ropes as well. There's your 3. And maybe there were some others, but yeah. Well, the Colts, week one, they had the Colts, and they allowed Matt Ryan to come back and make the tie and go to overtime and tie it. If they don't allow a fourth quarter collapse in this game, then they'll win. And maybe save Lovey's job. Who knows?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's down to the wire.
And Jeff Saturday's last game coaching Indy as well. I would think anyways. I mean,
Presumably, yeah.
He's 1-5 in his 6 games. So the total here is 38. And I'm gonna go with the under. Texans win this one 3-0. No, I'm just kidding. I do think it's gonna be like 13-10 kind of thing, really low scoring. Last 1 p.m. game, Jets at the Dolphins. This one, again, they're going to be scoreboard watching in Miami there. They're going to be making sure what the Patriots score is. Because that's the only game the other game that has implications on them. But Mark Lone Wolfen, once again, he's going with Skylar Thompson, and he really doesn't have. I mean, it's tough. I picked the Jets just because I need the Jets to win for the Steelers. But do I have confidence that Joe Flacco can beat Skylar Thompson? Hell no.
I think they have a better job. They have a better chance of beating them with Joe Flacco than they do Zach Wilson. So
That's true.
I think there's an added element to that. And I just think the Dolphins, unfortunately, have just been so decimated by injuries. I don't care how good of a coach you are or how talented of a team you are. That happens. It's, it can just really sink you. And it has for them. They've lost how many, in the last 7-ish weeks. So, yeah.
Yeah, without Tua, the Dolphins have been so bad. It's kind of funny because people were like, Tua sucks, but yet when you look at his record when he's playing versus when he's not, the Dolphins are a completely different team. So I do think Skylar Thompson has some swagger about him. 7th round pick. Kansas State. I didn't expect him to do much when the Dolphins drafted him. And he started now a couple games this year. So yeah, I mean, it's really kind of weird. This line has swung a lot too. Once Mike White was designated as out, this line swung from Jets -1 when it opened to Dolphins -3. But again, Joe Flacco is a veteran. He knows how to win. Super Bowl champion. Whether that was him or not, that's a different conversation. But he can get it done. And please, Joe, you have to harness the power of Joe. And I think you know the Joe that I'm talking about. That was in a Jets uniform way prior to Joe Flacco being in the Jets uniform, Mr. Namath. You have to harness the Joe Namath energy. And if Joe Flacco walks out onto that field with a fur coat like Joe Namath did, all bets are off. Jets by 100. It would be even more interesting if he was smoking a cig walking
yeah, at halftime.
But anyways, we don't condone smoking cigarettes, people. This game is at over under 37 and under. Jets, you know what? The Jets win this game because they get a defensive touchdown. Sauce gets a pick 6 off of Skylar Thompson.
The sauce.
I hate his commercials so much. You seen the Buffalo Wild Wings? Oh my God.
I haven't. I didn't know they did that.
It's so bad. Don't listen to it. It's so annoying.
It can't be worse than the Whopper commercial.
Oh, it's pretty bad. Giants. This is the start of the 425 slate here. Giants at the Eagles. Again, nice pick, sir. I like.
I had to give you guys a free one. Yeah. I mean, this is what happens when you don't do enough pre-show research. Did not anticipate them sitting the starters against a hated rival.
Well, they're just paying them back. Actually, that's not the payback. The Commanders are the ones that need to pay the Eagles back for what they did last year or 2 years ago. No, it was last year, allowing the Commanders to get in last year. But yeah, I mean, the Giants have done this before, and there was precedent already because Brian Daboll was on the Bills team with Sean McDermott that rested their starters week 18 a couple years ago. So he learned from McDermott that, this is kind of what you got to do. It's sometimes when you're got some injuries and you can't move anywhere, they're locked into that 5 seed or the 6 seed. I mean, so the Eagles have everything to play for. Number 1 seed, division title. Yeah. And if the Eagles win, they will continue the just most absurd streak in NFL history for the NFC East, the longest division streak of non-consecutive division champs. Not a consecutive division champ in this NFC East since the 03-04 Eagles.
Wow.
But yeah, total here is 43. I'm going over. Eagles score a lot. Please. Chargers at the Broncos. We're all on the Chargers. I thought someone might take a chance on that Broncos -3. I have no idea why the Broncos are favored in this game. I really don't. Maybe it's because the last 2 games against the Kansas City Chiefs, they played them very close. And I will say Russell Wilson and the offense has looked a lot better the last 3 weeks than it has the rest of the season. But that's not enough. The Chargers have not everything to play for, because does it really matter if they face the Jaguars/Titans or the Bengals? Kind of.
Yeah. For me, the answer is pretty clear.
But yeah, why not? Why not? Chargers get the win here. Jerry Rosberg's last game as interim head coach there. And they actually switched play callers for this game. They have a different guy calling it. I don't remember who, but yeah, Russell Wilson's gonna have a new voice in his head. Total is 40, and I'm going with the over. I think there are gonna be some points in this game, even though the defenses are pretty good. I do think there are gonna be some points, because there were in both of the Chiefs games. The Broncos put up points and the Chiefs just put up more. So I did forget to say on the college football picks standings here, we did have everyone went 1-1 in their lone wolves last week in our final week of picks. You got the Tennessee Volunteers right in the Orange Bowl, beating Clemson, but you got Kentucky wrong. Just a little bit. 21-0 shutout in the Music City Bowl there against Iowa. I got Texas wrong against Washington in the Alamo Bowl. But I did get Penn State right in the Rose Bowl over Utah. Lone Wolf that one. And then Mark got NC State wrong against Maryland in the Mayo Bowl, but he did get Notre Dame right over South Carolina. Can't remember what that bowl was. But back to this game. Or actually, no, I shouldn't go back to this game. I should go back to our Lone Wolves from last week on the NFL. I went 0-1. That's why I was 10-4. Y'all were 11-3. I picked the Jets last week, and they did not beat the Seahawks 23-6. Mark went 2-2. He got the Bucks right over the Panthers, the Browns right over the Commanders, but he got the Vikings sorely wrong against the Packers and the Ravens wrong against the Steelers. The total for this game here, though, is 40. Once again, I feel like I just keep saying 40, but it is 40. And I said the over. Yeah. Cardinals at the Niners. Why not? Why can't David Blau go into San Francisco, into Levi Stadium, and beat the NFC West champions without DeAndre Hopkins, without James Conner, no Buda Baker on defense? It's JJ Watt's last game. Why can't JJ Watt win this game for the Cardinals?
Dude, if that happened, I don't know who the owner of the Cardinals is, but he'd be so pissed.
Michael Bidwell.
He'd be beside himself. Cliff might actually get fired if he wins this game.
Bidwell will say, well, guess we got to sign him to a long-term deal, talking about David Blau. But yeah, for 14.5, this is the worst point spread of the weekend. And I mean, San Fran they're going to play everyone because they can still get the number 1 seed if the Giants backups beat the Eagles. But this should probably be a bloodbath. I feel very bad for Mr. Blau. Hopefully he makes it through the whole game. Because Mr. Bosa is going to be coming around the edge quite often. The total here is 39.5, and I'm going over because the 49ers might get that themselves with how bad this defense is. Granted, they played so well against Tampa Bay on Christmas. But that's the Bucs offense there. Rams at the Seahawks. Playoff implications here. Seahawks need a win and a Lions win to get in. And we're going with Geno against Baker Mayfield. And 6-point favorites at Lumen Field. Got a win last week against the Jets. I think the Rams might be a little bit better, even with their all their injuries that they have. I do think the Rams are playing better than the Jets are right now. So I think it might be closer than people think, but I do think Seahawks pull it out here.
Yeah. Yep. I think it just boils down to like one team has something to play for. The other team literally doesn't have anything to play for because they don't even own their first round pick. So yeah. They
are playing to move back. Move the line back. The total here is 41.5, and I'm going under. Cowboys at the Commanders. We're all on Dallas. And I mean, why would we not pick against a rookie 5th-round pick making his first career start against Micah Parsons?
Yep. Yeah. I was literally just going to say the exact same thing. That's what it boils down to.
But I think the Cowboys are funny, dude. I think they go down to Tampa in the first round. I'm picking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not just because I hate the Dallas Cowboys, but I think even though my Panthers couldn't win the South, the Cowboys, the Bucks have a better matchup against the Cowboys than the Panthers would have. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but I don't think there's any question they win this game.
Yeah. The Cowboys are interesting because I think they have just as good a chance of making it all the way to the Super Bowl as they do losing in the wild card round. Just because they're kind of a hot and cold team a little bit to some extent.
They're like the Vikings, dude. They have so many flaws that people just aren't talking about because they have 12 wins. It's the same thing with Minnesota. There's a lot of flaws there, but they have a lot of wins, so people don't talk about them. Total here is 40.5. And I'm gonna go just over. I think the Washington defense will do some damage, but not enough to help Mr. Howell get the win. Sunday Night Football. This is what everyone's coming to see. Will the Lions be in play during this game, or will they not? Mark is on the Lions. You and I are on your Green Bay Packers, so take it away. Why will the Packers make the playoffs?
I have to believe that Rodgers at Lambeau, primetime game with the playoffs on the line is going to be able to pull it out. I have to believe that. And what's really encouraging has been the defensive play. The last, 3 or so weeks has been pretty impressive. So yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. Unfortunately for my nerves, because I do, regardless of how the Seattle game goes, because I just think that Dan Campbell's going to get his boys going no matter what, if they have a playoff spot on the line or not, to bite some kneecaps. But yeah, I just think that, like I said, Rodgers at Lambeau, primetime, the experience, I think he'll be able to pull it out.
Yeah, if Aaron Rodgers is smiling like he does this game, I think it's going to be over relatively quickly. Because like I've mentioned, the home road splits for the Lions are drastic, especially when you're talking about Jared Goff, and especially when you're talking about the defense. Now, I don't have specific numbers. You can look those up if you want to, but I just know from hearing about it that when they're on the road, they aren't the same team as when they're in the dome. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch, I think. I don't think it should be too cold for this one. Probably I would have to think in the 30s. I haven't looked at the weather, but should be clear. I don't think there's any weather coming in. So, yeah, should be a clean game. And I guess go Pack, go. Too bad the Vikings aren't going to be the number 2 seed, because then I would say, Logan, we're packing up and we're driving to Minneapolis to watch the playoff game.
Yes, sir.
Total for that game is 49, third highest of the week. What is up with that? Packers 41 again, like they did last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so. Best bets. I am not going to end with a winning record, unfortunately. Just couldn't get it done. Last week started off pretty promising, right? I told everyone Broncos plus 12.5 was the easiest bet of the year because of their prior game against the Chiefs. Close game, that one. Close game last week as well. 12.5 is way too many points for the Broncos to not cover that. Unfortunately for me, I didn't know Stiddy was going to show up for the Raiders, and the Niners -10 was not even close, winning in overtime by a field goal. And then the Jets just absolutely were terrible. -1.5 at Seattle last week. It was bad. Mike White sucks. And yeah, so here we go this week though. Week 18 best bets. -6.5 Jags against the Titans. I said it's going to be closer than people think maybe, but I do think the Jags can pull it off at the end and win by a touchdown against Josh Dobbs. So go score some points, T-Law. This one is a little tough. These last two are kind of tough. I didn't like a lot of the lines this week, but -1, 2.5 for the Steelers at home against the Browns. I just have to think that if they beat Cleveland, it's going to be at least by 3. They've won the last 2 games by 3. So why not win this one by 3? Please don't win by more. Actually, I don't need that stress on Sunday morning. And then the Niners -14 against the Cardinals. I probably should have put the Cowboys -7 there instead. But why? I mean, the Cardinals have so much going against them right now. There's no reason the 49ers should not obliterate them at home.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully the 49ers D doesn't let us down again.
Yeah. Okay. Lock standings. Mark's clinched. Clinched the college pick standings. He's now clinched the lock standings. Logan, you have to beat him this week to clinch the NFL standings. I don't got a chance in any of them. So, Mark and you screwed up. You picked the same team last week. You picked the Lions. You both got that one right. I got the Eagles wrong against the Saints. Lions routing the Bears there, but yeah. 2 back. See if you can try to get Mark this week. Finish 1 back there. I'm just dwindling at 10-7. Here we go. Locks of the week. You took the squarest of square picks that there was this week. Chiefs are 9-point favorites in Vegas. Unless Stiddy shows up, you're going to win. I'm going with the Bills against the Patriots. Mac Jones, that offense is not very good. And like you said, they're playing for number 3. They got number 3 patches they're going to wear this week, which is going to be cool. So I'm interested to watch the touchdown celebrations, what they do there for him possibly. And Mark's going with the Jags in the AFC South Championship on Saturday night. I think that's a good pick as well. Dog standings, how the mighty have fallen. I have been so bad the last month. I don't think I've won since November. You got the Seahawks right, +1.5 against the Jets. They won outright. I had the Panthers +3 at the Bucks, which was looking fantastic for 3 quarters and 2 minutes. Yeah, that's so bad. And then the Mark got the Browns right, +2 at the Commanders. They won outright. So you and I now, it is the tiebreaker this week. It is on. Will we both go 2-0? Will one of us go 1-1? Or we both go 0-2 and we tie? And Mark is there. 5 backs. But yeah, here we go. You are banking your dog standing life on Davis Mills,
Yeah.
Lovie Smith, and the Houston Texans plus 2.5 at the Colts.
Yeah, it's really incredible. But yeah, I mean, I just I don't know if it's I'm betting on Davis Mills more so that I'm betting against Jeff Saturday. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in reality, what it is, and you mentioned this a little earlier, I think the Texans are better than what their record is. Like you said, they've played some close games against some actually pretty good teams. So yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to be able, and I mean, you think if you're Davis Mills, like, you know, like go out there, try and prove one last time, maybe why they should take Jalen Carter over Bryce Young. So yeah.
Yeah, and mine feels like a trap. I still don't know what the -3 for Denver is all about.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about Texans. So obviously if I would have picked them and I saw yours, I would have changed. But yeah, the Chargers +3 at the Broncos. I just see no reason why they shouldn't win that game or at least cover. So I know I'm gonna lose, but it's fine because I've been picking losers the last month and a half. So and then Mark had to change his because he had the Dolphins originally +1 against the Jets. But when that line swung, it wasn't a dog anymore. So he had to pick his only other dog of the week and go with the Detroit Lions +4.5 at the Packers. You and I think that's going to turn out very poorly for Mark. So good luck. And next week, we'll be back. Super wild card weekend. We talking, yes, Jim Morrow. We'll be talking about the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
That's one of the moments where I wish I kind of had a soundboard connected and I could just hit the little button. Playoffs? But yeah, we'll be talking about all the NFL wild card games. We have a kind of an idea of who's going to be in them right now and who's playing who, but we will know officially after Sunday and talk about those on the Monday show. But then we'll be back talking about the wild card weekend next Friday. And don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAA_bets is our betting account. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And Monday, we'll have a special Monday morning show. I will be in LA for the 2023 National College Football Playoff National Championship game Monday night. So I will have stuff to do that evening before the game. But yeah, I'm out from Athens, Georgia, sir. Thank you for being on, and we'll see you back Monday morning.
See you Monday morning, dude. Have a good
11
weekend.
a.m. Eastern. There, I will be up bright and early, 8 a.m. Pacific.